we don't talk about a digital strategy anymore.
Right.
We talk about building a better commercial strategy in a digital world, which is completely different.
Different mindset.
Different mindset, indeed. That's one thing. And our objective, our goal on that is to work smarter and grow faster. So this is what we want, and therefore we need to build capabilities. And that is everything Tom is working on with L&D and with HR to build programs and to roll out programs to make sure that our people understand what data and technology means for them in their day-to-day work.
How do you see the current team structures? Are they in its still evolution stage? Are they matured out? Or what was the couple of new roles you created or you described with the new JDs in the last couple of quarters? Do you have any new additions to the team, for example?
Yeah, good question. So I'll start with the first part of the question. I do think it's interesting because we talk about large scale teams or agile teams.
Right.
And I think the reality is if you're doing business right and you grow, you're going to scale, and then you're going to need more people to handle that scale. So I think the key is figuring out how do you infuse agility into the way that you operate as a team, regardless of what size it is. Mm-hmm. And so that's been really the biggest part of my learning as I've gone from CPG to startup back to CPG, is how do you make agility the way that we work? And a couple of the things that have stood out to me are, number one, in this space, things move quickly. So in the digital and e-commerce landscape space, things move quickly. So how do you have an organizational structure that enables fast decision making? You have to have innovation be within your kind of standard innovation pipelines, but how do you have somebody focused on that specifically for e-com and digital innovation?
Responsible and accountable for ongoing
Responsible and
innovation.
accountable. I think capability, this is one where I think a lot of times people see capability as an enabler, right? So you have your strategic choices, and then capability sits underneath that and props it up.
Fuel the engine.
I have a fundamental belief that in this space, capability actually needs to be a strategic choice. It's not an enabler of your strategic choices.
Okay.
It is a strategic choice. Because the reality is we still have this dichotomy of people who have grown up in traditional sort of brick and mortar or brand building experiences, and then you've got people who are now leading the charge in the digital e-commerce space. We have to bring those two worlds together.
They should speak the same language.
They should speak the same language. They should understand the same things, and we're still in a place where we're not there yet. And so to me, that means that capability has to be a strategic choice, not just an enabler. So one of the things that we've done as a team is, okay, who is responsible and accountable for driving organizational capability in the spaces that we lead? And so I think that is definitely one. And I also think managing agility for fast decision making, what you don't want to have as you scale and grow, which is something I've seen a number of times, not just with Bayer, or not with Bayer necessarily, but in my previous experiences. You scale, you grow, you add layers. Now all of a sudden the people closest to the business have to talk to 5 different people before they can go optimize a search term. And by the time they get the answer on the search term, they've already missed the window.
Share of voice already changed.
The window's gone, right? And so I think that's some of the power of some of the things that we've publicly talked about that Bayer is doing, is trying to remove bureaucracy so that the people closest to the business can make decisions quickly. And I think that e-com and digital commerce spaces are gonna benefit from that.
I want to bring the focus to the internal teams, because this takes a team to orchestrate and execute. You have people from commerce managing the accounts, you have people from media managing the retail media and all other media plan, you have people from marketing and brand side, and data is the main fuel to run this engine. And I've heard from good friends like you, Coca-Cola is building a lot of digital capabilities around the internal teams, bringing those cross-functional teams together. Walk us through what you guys have been building since 2019. Why Coca-Cola is ahead of many other CPGs in terms of digital upskilling, and where are you headed? Where is the journey?
Well, I think Tom can talk about our digital acceleration program in a minute. First, I will take one step back. We don't talk about a digital strategy anymore.
Right.
We talk about building a better commercial strategy in a digital world, which is completely different.
Different mindset.
Mindset, indeed. That's one thing. And our objective, our goal on that is to work smarter and grow faster. So this is what we want, and therefore we need to build capabilities. And that is everything Tom is working on with L&D and with HR to build programs and to roll out programs to make sure that our people understand what data and technology means for them in their day-to-day work. And I think it's good to just talk us through the program we're running.
So basically, if you look at the capabilities years ago, I think it didn't shift it that much. What you see nowadays is that it's getting more complex and more interwoven. Sales is on the marketing chair and marketing is on the sales chair.
KPIs are showing.
KPIs. So I think the roles which we are having are getting more complex, but we also need to train the people within it. We need to help them, right? So what we have said at the beginning of the year, of course, we need to accelerate on specific topics. We need to be the number one partner in e-retail. We need to grow in the e-food market, the path to purchase just mentioned. But one of the most important pillars in which we are working on is on the people aspect within it. So we want to get everybody towards a certain level. So we have written two types of leadership programs. The first one is with, I must say, I think mostly the board, with some people who are also focusing on acceleration, so the data team, but also somebody from OmniContact team, in which we are having two groups of 12 persons who are following a 6-course program. In which
How long is this program?
Half a year. So
amazing. Half a year program for the brass level leadership.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So and what we are doing within that is that we're not gonna invite presenters talking about all kinds of McKinsey articles, because then it's only sending, and what is everybody doing with it? I don't know, but a lot of info hangs within the articles.
The North Star in those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what we have tried to achieve is create a program in which we have an outside-in perspective. So we invite chief digital officers from big organizations talking about their digital transformation and how they incorporate it, but also to be actively working with the latest tools. You can talk a lot about transformation, but if you don't,
it doesn't happen itself.
It doesn't happen itself. So last week we had a session,
which was literally in this room.
Which it is in this room, in which the leadership team had to work with all latest Gen AI tooling. So I've written a case about creating a new brand. They got a lot of sources towards it, so PDF files about category growth, our annual report, and they need to combine everything within the AI tooling and
custom GPT built for the new brand initiative.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was really eye-opening for a lot of people in the group, because often do not have the time to search for themselves. They often do not have the time to search themselves. What is AI? What is Gen AI? How can I improve my daily work with it? And you saw the energy floating around.
Learning, prompting, asking the right questions.
Discovery, and satisfaction.
Yeah. So the program is actually built also on a practical part of it. So we're inviting speakers from the market. You have to work on the tooling yourself, but also one of the key pillars within the program is to look at the leadership capabilities, right? So what type of behavior do I need to show towards my team, so that they can also evolve into this market or technology thinking.
So it's more encouragement and also leading by example.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I really like, if we take, for instance, Tom has an example which he showed when he started this program on the iceberg. Oh. So above surface you see technology and everything, but below it's all about leadership style, talent, skills.
Right.
And that is what is happening in this program. And while you're experiencing it, you see people change, adapting, get energized, and start doing things differently.
So it's not threatening people with their job or understanding, it's empowering people to perform a much bigger scope.
Yeah.
And is this a program standing in front of now?
Yeah, so this is the program indeed. So it's about accelerating the leaders of tomorrow, becoming a learning and agile organization driven by data and technology. And I think the learning and agile part of it is really interesting, because we're the big Coke, right? And we're quite successful. But we also need to keep in mind that we also still can learn. And with the market, everything which is happening related to AI, it's quite scary as well.
And those global brands are enterprises, of course, they're like a massive carrier ship. Sometimes it's really hard and slow to steer. You're not a small speedboat.
No.
You're a massive organization with a lot of mass, a lot of know-how, century-old domain knowledge. Sometimes it requires agile intervention to make things move.
And that's especially why we did it from a starting point within the leadership team, because they know how to steer the big oil tanker. So that's one program, especially for the leadership team, but maybe afterwards we're going to do some part of the trainings also for the other teams. But what we also have is we organize, for instance, every month a Learn at Lunch, and that's for the broader organization.
Right.
Every month with a specific topic which related towards digital or acceleration or changing organization. So September we had a prompt training. We had somebody who has an own organization or startup and how he works with AI on a daily basis. It was really mind-blowing that everything he does is AI, and if you look at ours, we are
typing on
keyboards, doing stuff. It's year on the same thing. And retail media, of course, is also a topic which we mentioned. So every month a different topic, and you see that the attendance is quite high. So almost 20 to 25% of the people from the commercial teams, they do attend.
Yep.
So that's quite cool.
Can you walk us through about your teams and the division's global strategy? What are the key pillars you guys implementing to empower the business units on the ground in the markets? How it's taking its shape?
Sure. So, I personally like to call us not as a COE, but like center of acceleration. Right?
Okay. I like
not an expertise. And the reason I say that is, yes, expertise is one, but I think we as a team, we're a small and mighty team. We essentially want to get our hands dirty. We work with the business units and really make sure that we are providing impact to the business.
Right.
So there are three roles which we play. One is strategy, where essentially 5-10-year long-range plans, strat plan, 3 years, annual planning process is something which is steered from the center.
Right.
And obviously including channel strategy, how do we want to win in direct-to-consumer, pure players, omni-channel customers, and things like that. All comes from the center. And then essentially it is then cascaded down to the markets for execution. The second role which we play is an area of capability, right? Which is, things like digital retail media, digital content, data and analytics. I can name a few more. Again, what does that mean? How do we operationalize those capabilities in our enterprise?
Tactical points, hands-on use,
And then, so that's the second role which we play. And the final role which we play, is really upskilling our enterprise.
Yes, we'll come to that too.
I'm a firm believer. We are as good as our people who are calling the customer, or our marketing colleagues who are really thinking omni-channel and not just in-store or advertising. And I think we are on a mission to really first equip our sales and marketing colleagues to think in-store and online together and fuse omni-channel thinking. And then really also at the same time really make sure our executive leaders understand what would it take for us to win, right? So executive education on one hand, operation education on the other hand. So that's another area which the center plays a role through playbooks, toolkits, internal workshops, webinars. So those are three broad roles we play. As I said, we are a small team, but really driving impact. And we've got certain sort of rhythm in the way we work collaboratively with our markets through our MBRs and QBRs, where it's not just about discussing financials and initiatives, but also as a group, how can we solve big problems? How can we address the big rocks, right? Which would impact the US, would impact China, would impact India. How do we sort of get the collective power of all our fantastic e-commerce leaders in the enterprise to really enable us to become number one, right?
That's great summary. And of course, someone as a former insider, I can resonate with many of those. I've seen those meetings in action. I've seen those works being executed on the ground. But
for the audience who might not be familiar with Mondelez internal ways, this is a very fast-moving machine and in a multifaceted way.
You mentioned your team is responsible for 3 core functions. One is performance media buying, and then media content generation, and also the data science of it, which I assume is measurement and reporting as well.
Yes.
Is it one team or is it multiple teams combined in a cross-functional structure?
So my team is purely for retail media.
Okay.
And in terms of measurement, it is more so against what the retail media partners actually offer. So Amazon, Walmart, Kroger in the US had data clean room functionality, and that's where we're doing a lot of the internal measurement.
Right.
Now, the organization uses MFX, and that's a broader piece that goes from top of funnel to bottom of funnel. So it's not unique to my team, but we're partnering heavily with the retailers from a measurement point of view to work out, in this new scope of retail media where investment is growing year on year, how do we make sense of it all and what makes sense for our brands and categories?
And it makes total sense to build a team in a way to bring this hands-on expertise or hands-on ownership while you build up IP and upscaling. This is a very important trend many CPGs are planning or getting on board. So I'm glad your team is already on this journey.